this is like talking about like what tier is bread. It's like, I don't know. There's good bread. There's bad. I'm eating the bread.
It's bread.
Yeah, I'm eating the bread.
It's money.
Yeah. So it depends on what's in the tier, but yeah.
I can live with that.
Yeah, it feels low. Feels low to me. Maybe B minus. I give it a B minus. C plus at least.
And then we have these emails that came in. Feet, not spam. Hey, Remappers, this is a response to Patrick's direct question, episode 94. I think Americans have a weird relationship to feet in comparison to the rest of the world. You tend to go out of your way to keep them hidden to the point that you wear shoes inside.
Wait, we read this last week, right?
Oh, did you?
Is it? No.
Is it the one with Australia? Okay.
Is this Australia?
No, this is in Australia.
Is it New Zealand?
Okay.
No.
Okay.
People have the same feet talking points. Then go on,
people
go
have
on.
the same way. I think I marked the ones that I pulled in our thing, so I think Rob should be good.
To most of the world, wearing shoes inside is deeply rude, and I was taken aback the first time I saw someone do this in real life. I thought it was just a thing that was done on TV. Is this some Puritan thing that is stuck around devoid of context? A leftover from when showing ankle was scandalous.
So this is something that I take issue with a little bit, because this happens a lot for people talking about like American culture. They're like, oh yeah, y'all wear shoes inside. Whoa, who's y'all? Whatever happened to that melting pot? Let's separate some of the stuff from the melting pot real fast, because I don't wear like my sneakers inside my house. I have like chanclas, slippers, if you will, house sandals. Sometimes I'll wear, I'll walk barefoot sometimes at home. I do have the classic, was raised, you're gonna get sick if you walk barefoot in the house. The classic immigrant propaganda that's fed to you as a child. But, and I often wear socks just because my feet get cold. So, yeah, but I'm not like walking around. I don't have like my Adidas. I'm outside of my Adidas and I'm walking in my house and I'm just like stomping around, like I don't do that. Now, if someone comes over to my house, I don't make them take their shoes off because that's I just don't want to impose my life on them. This is an apartment, it's not that deep, but I can go either way. I'm like, well, because I take my shoes off in my home. Like, it's like, oh, you can't, but you don't have to if you're coming to my apartment. Yeah.
Do you preemptively start to take your shoes off in somebody else's home? Or do you wait for them to ask?
I say, where should I put my shoes? Because I like to lean into I'm down to take my shoes off. I know I should take my shoes off because my shoes are nasty outside shoes and you have a home. And then they say, oh, you can just leave them there. Usually they're just saying, oh, you can just leave them in the corner. That's when, if they really don't care, they can insist, oh, no, you don't got to do that. Like I said, it's like, oh, really? You're sure? Okay, cool. Hey, I'm not going to make you let me take my shoes off. Maybe you don't want my shoes, out here in your home. I don't know what kind of household you're running. And then my brother comes over to my apartment really often. So I bought him chanclas for my apartment that he can wear when he comes over because he's there that often. Which back when my dad and my uncle would hang out a lot, like back in the day in Chicago, my uncle would come over a lot too. And same deal. He had his own like chanclas in the hall closet because he was there. And that's like a sign of like, you're here so much that you get your own like slides, So what's everyone else doing? Are y'all just outside, inside?
I follow where you are at, where I'm not gonna stop anyone that takes them off. It's like great, but like if someone makes it in the door and like they didn't take them off, I'm not gonna please go back to the front door and like take them. It's sort of plus once we got like the decent like cleaning robot, I just sort of accept. I would just sort of, and with kids, it's like getting frustrated every time a kid runs in the door and they didn't take their shoes off. And the kids are pretty good about doing it. Like our kids know when they come home from school, like they take their shoes off. But like stuff happens. And so that's just one of those things where I just pay the money for the robot that like can run every day, gets that kind of like little dirt that would come through, or when you ask a kid to come through later. But also I'm a hypocrite. Like I try to have inside outside shoes. I do, and I put them by the door, and I try to keep that consistent where it's like, all right, everything's like slip on, slip off. Like I don't have a ton of shoes anymore that like have to be tied because I want to be able to just like move between them, especially working from home. So I try to do the thing where like I take off the inside shoes, put on the outside shoes, go do the thing I need to do. And then I don't know, sometimes I need to get a fucking screwdriver. And like I'm keeping the outside shoes on. Like I have to go up I know where it is. I have to go get it. I'm not doing it. So I sort of gave up on that. I'm not precious about it. But we also have, this is a question. it's also like carpet versus wood floors, right? Huge difference between how much you're going to care about shoes versus no shoes. We knew we were having kids when we bought the house, so the 2 rooms that did have carpet, we ripped that up. And also we had a dog that was prone to accidents even prior to hitting elderly age. So wood floors, like, you're just not sweating. Like, things can hide, but like, you're not making stains or like permanent mistakes by someone either spilling something or someone coming in with muddy shoes. You can just wipe it and clean it up. It just, it gets more complicated once you've got carpet or like nice rugs, and if those two are intermingling.
It's interesting. I think there's a few things that my head goes a few places, to borrow a phrase from my therapist. My head goes a few places when I hear you talk about this. So, one, I think a lot of housing in the U.S. doesn't have great affordances for a place to comfortably unburden oneself of shoes, grocery bag, like things you're carrying, like
is often what it's called, right? Like
mud room, but
sometimes
like
it's attached to a laundry room or like are the same room. But
here's the problem: if you're bringing your muddy or snowy shoes inside, now the floor in that place is going to be muddy and snowy, and so like
I feel like the fate of the question starts with not being. Like, I feel like you walk into someone's house with muddy or snowy shoes.
Yeah.
Like, you've done something egregious versus, like, it's,
Well, no, but you have to walk into their house with muddy shoes because there's nowhere to take the shoes off outside the house.
Oh, sure. Okay. I see.
And you see what I mean? So immediately, there's still going to be, like, icky muck somewhere in the house. And so, like, if you're wearing socks, are you seriously thinking that none of that, like, snow melting or the mud, that you're going to walk and you're not going to pick some of that up? And so I think there's a tendency to, like, leave shoes on because, like, in the house, because, like, a lot of times, like, if there's something from the outside that you're concerned about bringing in, it's gonna come through regardless. In a lot of cases, the other thing, Patrick, with the carpets thing, yeah, on the one hand, the carpets stain and you want to be more protective of those, but here's the other thing. When you're walking around in socks on a hardwood floor, all the grit, the dust, the grime, all that like tracks right onto your socks or your feet.
Yes.
And so again, you become hyper cognizant of that. When I lived in LA, I stupidly got a place right off San Vicente. Mm-hmm. I never had so much dusty car exhaust shit on my floor. Like, I've never seen floors like this. It was grody as hell. And so the thing is, like, unless you were cleaning the floors like daily, it was a laminate floor. You don't want to really be wearing like socks either because like there's so much like gritty, nasty shit on the floor, and so like shoes in a lot of ways became more comfortable, like just to be lounging around the house. I think like you, Patrick, I've become a big believer in like the loafer. Where it's like a slipper that you can wear to places, and that's perfectly like socially acceptable. That's pretty nice because if it wears like a slipper, you feel comfortable around the house. But I have just become increasingly cognizant of like, especially with dogs. I'm sure kids is the same thing. There's like food shrapnel everywhere, so like socks and bare feet. It's just not going to be a pleasant experience. Like, I need to have something on my feet that is not going to make me hyper aware of all the little bits of nastiness that like have ended up on the floor from like Mina's favorite thing is like get a big mouthful of food, just shatter it. Eat it? No, not necessarily. Just wants to shatter it. Make big like crunch, 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 and like cartoon like dust flying out of her mouth, and she'll like maybe half of that food like goes down, and some of it she's just like. I was mostly into this for the shattering of the kibble, not the eating of it. Now this detritus, that is your problem. Enjoy. And if you don't pick that up, like ASAP, it's going to be on the socks. It's going to be on bare feet. So like the whole notion, I think, for me is like, oh, you should take your shoes off inside. Frequently, my experience is like, oof, the inside is not doing that much better than the parking lot outside.
Right. No, that is valid. But for me, it's like, I really just got to mop more. Which, Patrick, is your robot, is it just a vacuumy robot or you have a moppy robot?
So for the longest time, it was just...
Make moppies.
They make moppies.
They made moppies.
But I don't know if they're...
They've gotten really good, I hear.
That's the thing. So I'm like, how good are they? And like, do you have a rec? Because I've been wanting to get a mop one.
Yeah, so if the longest time I would just buy, like the robot cleaning tech was like advancing, so, like you could just jump into the iRobot, like sort of the Roomba, sort of like, okay, I'm just gonna pay a premium. Like they had the best tech, like the best devices. They were expensive, but like you were getting top of the line. I like my impulse with buying lots of things is like buy the. This is very different than like Rob and I've talked. It's like Rob does a lot of research, finds the thing he wants, buys it. Might still not like it, but has done the research ahead of time. I buy the cheaper thing, like much cheaper thing, find out what I like and don't like about it, and then buy the more expensive thing later on. And like I like having the device in the home, interacting with it, and then I'll spend the money when I'm ready. So for many years, I just had really cheap little robot vacuums that did the job, but like they didn't have any of the mapping. They would just like bounce around for 90 minutes and like get stuck on weird stuff. And then finally, especially as the kids gotten older, we've made more friends in the neighborhood, and my wife just got tired of, and this was tied up with our dog going through end of life, was like, I'm tired of mopping the floors. Could you just look at one of those? Can you see those fucking machines have gotten good enough to, doesn't mean we never clean the floors, but just like day-to-day stuff, like, is there something that can at least help?
Because 10 years ago, I will say this, they weren't good enough. They fouled too often, and what would happen is like if they weren't like easily like if there's a little bit of grit that was like preventing them from this, like hoovering stuff back up, they would just like slobber their like soap solution everywhere. Also, the wheels on mine, the tread wore off so fast that it could not retain grip on the damp floor that it was creating, and so the thing would like get stuck. You're supposed to replace the wheels, but like it happened so fast that it was like, oh man, that thing can't get around again because the tires are bald. That sucks.
So I recommend, if you're curious about this, there's plenty of YouTube videos you could watch, but vacuumwars.com is, I think, the website was recommended to me. It's the website that I used because they get into the nitty gritty on like what are you trying to accomplish in your space, right? Like because there'll be like really good vacuums that's like, all right, this thing sucks at carpets and rugs, but if you're mostly wood floors, do you give a shit about that? Like, and like because it's like actually better at wood floors than this other one that is more multi-purpose. So vacuumwars.com was critical in me figuring out the one I went with. I ended up going. I was trying to pull up the. It's a not EcoVac. What was it? Just, oh, I guess I could just. Well, the robot's name is Jerry. I asked one of the neighborhood children to
name it. Nice. My Roomba's name's Roger.
It's made by Eufy. It is the X10 Pro. It is not cheap. Like it's like. But the thing about robot vacuums,
the wedding registry needs something on there.
They go on sale
Some people
all
don't
the
want
time.
to just give me
Either
money.
get it at the wedding registry or never buy this on an average day. Never like if you want to go the high end route, you're buying one of the nicer ones that it's going to self empty, it's going to have good mapping, and it's going to mop efficiently. Like you're immediately starting at 500, and then it's like you're going from there upwards to 1,000. But they regularly, like anytime there is a holiday, it's one of the first things they slash prices on all over the place. You don't have to buy at Target, or whatever, like if sensitive to Target, or you don't want to buy at Amazon. Like every retailer, this is one of the first things they lop $300, $400 off. So I waited. I researched. The Eufy X10 Pro was the one that like really got recommended to me, and Vacuum Wars was like, this is the one that fits your space the best, and so that's the one I ended up going with, and it's fucking like. It's awesome. Like I love the fact that the kids spill something and it's like I just load up, I just create a little rectangle. 5 minutes later, that is dusted. It is cleaned. Like it is taken care of every day. It just like it's set to go at like 9 a.m., which is like when the kids are out the door. I've put everything away in the kitchen. And it just vacuums. And then like every other day it does mopping. Like in the like it's the kitchen and the eating space. That's pretty much all I really needed for it. It's more complicated with dogs. Like, you know, I'd probably have to change it from there. But it has been like a wonder. It's not, you know, if you go out there with white socks, like if you're not, you know, keeping up on it, like sure, just like anything else, there'll be stuff there.
Yeah.
Like it does what is advertised on the tin. Like it does a pretty good job dusting and like getting dirt, and it does a pretty good job mopping. But the thing is, if you want to be, if you want to stay on the cheaper end, you have to ditch the mopping. Just get we're not going to get it, because anything that you're going to get in the like 150 to 300 to 400 range, which is you can get totally good.
Yeah.
You're going to lose the mapping. A lot of that trickles down.
Oh, because this does vacuum and mop.
Vacuum and mop.
That's really, because it's like, I got a limited, well, you know, it's an apartment, so there's really not that much space. And at a certain point, you just get this cluster of robots that are surrounding you at all times. It's like that, the air purifier, and then the cat has a magic bowl, and I'm just...
And the hub is big. Like it takes up like a decent chunk of real estate. And the hubs are sort of different for each one.
Yeah.
But if you're just looking like, I'm just tired of like, if you don't want the mopping, you can get really good cleaning.
Yeah.
Like, just the cleanup, like just do like vacuuming sort of tasks for a couple $100, and you'll be more than happy. It might not have a map, but like it'll get the job done. The smaller your space, the less of a problem the lack of a map is. Like the bigger your space, where you have like the child spilled, you know, an Oreo, like it's nice, you know, rather than hitting clean and then 40 minutes later, like it makes its way over to the spot and figures it out.
Drunkenly stumbles into where you needed to go.
So this was where like I went through years of cheap ones, and then like finally I was like, all right, I'm gonna suck it up. I'm gonna get the good one. And the one I have is on sale for $700. This is listed on Amazon. My guess is those are usually a parity with other retail. If one has it on sale, the others have it on sale. I think this might be a carryover from Memorial Day, but that's the one we've had, and we've been very happy with it.
In defense of the like Americans choose indoors accusations, the one thing that we can't avoid though is the school aspect of it. Because when I demoed to a T at like an Annapurna event like a while ago, I was there with the creator Takahashi, who also, you know, made Katamari Damacy, and there's a moment in the game where I guess you have to like it's like you know, it is God, why am I blanking on this? Third person, there we go. Kind of just like adventure game, but there's like, I wouldn't say there's puzzles, but there's like tasks to do, like little objective tasks. Like, oh, get ready for school and put your clothes on. And it's like a little physicsy, and that's the game, and it's really sweet. And I'm excited to play the rest of it now that I have code and everything. But one of the things was like something with the shoe, like you have to take your shoes off and switch into like these slippers when you're in like the classroom. And I think I like had missed that cue, because it's like we don't have, you know, we when you go to school in America, you have your sneakers and you got your sneakers on like the whole time. Maybe you take your shoes off if you're like in kindergarten and they still do nap time or something. But even then, it's like just lay down with your sneakers on. It's like just, you know, it's not really fancy. And he was like, yeah, y'all just here with your shoes on, like indoors? And I was like, well, like not in, I mean, well, for school, yeah. And he's like, couldn't be me. You know, it's kind of the judgment was hard. And I guess valid, because whereas for school it's just like fair game. So I think that's where we kind of can't. We don't really we don't wear our shoes indoors defense, because in terms of school we totally do. And I'm like, yeah, is that gross? I'm like, I guess it is. I guess those floors are pretty gnarly in the schools, I suppose. I never really thought about it as being like a place that you would change into like house slippers.
I remember. So after we were disillusioned with our old, like, you know, decade at this point, old, out of date mop robot, we were using the Swiffer a fair bit, and then we were like, but the planet, you know, like really, like it's not the most, like, what about a more sustained, like what's wrong with good old mopping, you know? And we
Swiffer also
the best
sucks
mop.
too.
Wire cutter, like here, this mop fucking rules. It's like just as good as a Swiffer. It's like, yeah, we used it, and it like. It had like a cool little bucket thing where it just like wrung itself out so
spinny.
perfectly and so easily. I was like, this thing is incredible. I love it. Changed the game forever. I think we used it once, and then never, because it's like, here's the problem. Most of the time, you don't want to. Who wants to mop? I don't. But I see a little spill, a little something's got to be judged. Swiffer is so good at that mission. It's just like squeegee for your floor, just gone, clean. And so like I tell myself like I should mop these floors. Vacuuming the floors isn't that hard.
No.
Why is mopping them so? But and yet I'm like the whole. I had to take the bucket out, clean the bucket out, fill the bucket.
You've identified
that.
Honestly, though, it's not even that part to me. My argument for why mopping sucks, why we don't mop, I'm literally going, how often to mop, and then realizing I don't mop nearly as often as I'm supposed to.
Once a quarter.
Yeah, it's like when my mind starts breaking, I bring the mop out. I'm trying to make it more consistent. Now that I have I'm like, I'll take the mopping task officially because I feel like we could really, oh yeah, you'll mop, and then it's like, and then like we didn't, and it's like, oh my God. So the mopping for me, it's the wait time of it drying, and obviously I'm not like dousing my floor in water. You know, you can't do that. But just the fact that it's like it's such a production because when I clean the bathroom, it's like there's obviously don't use the bathroom. We have 2 bathrooms. We're lucky enough to have 2 bathrooms, just 2 of us, so very easy not to use a bathroom. But other than that, it's like, okay, that's one room. And it's like for a very specific, it's like, hey, if you need a shower, you use the bathroom, do that. And then I'm going to clean the bathroom. And after I'm done cleaning the bathroom, boom, you can use the bathroom. With the mopping, it's such like a production. It's like, hey, can you be out of this whole area for like 30 minutes to an hour? Or the worst is like, you're sitting on the sofa and it's like, okay, I'm going to mop. Just so you know, you're kind of trapped there now, basically.
You live there now.
You got to kind of jankily tiptoe. And then you're like,
hey, can you swing your legs onto this piece of furniture real quick?
Exactly. Yep. It's just, that's the part. And also, too, mopping, it's a dual. You can't just mop. Well, you got to vacuum the floors before you mop. What are you, an animal? Like, you know? So it's like, that's the other thing. You're kind of, so that's what really gets me on the mopping, I feel like. And then plus I have the cat, too. Luckily, he's lazy as hell, so he's usually just sitting. I'm like, don't move. He's like, I wasn't going to move anyway.
He's recovering.
He was never spry.
Wow.
He was never spry. But now
this is before the.
But now I'm like, wow, he's like so good at his recovery. Really, he's just he's the same as he's always been. Luckily, but yeah, so he doesn't move around too much. But I imagine having like, I guess dogs, you sequester them somewhere. But that's the point. It's like a production. Every other chore, I can just do the chore. Here, I gotta like involve the whole community. You know?
Yeah, it's.
I have just like little rags that I use for spot cleaning for the most part on the ground.
I also do that for spot cleaning.
Like very, very long time in between. And I think that's fine if you're spot cleaning stuff immediately, right? When it's like, oh, there's like a spill or something. I'm not going to let that dry into it or like, you know, wipe it up immediately. And you probably save yourself a lot of regular maintenance. But I can't remember the last time.
The smell of mopping, though, is really nice.
Well, is that the smell of Pine Sol?
Yeah, it's the smell of Pine Sol or Fabuloso. I want to be a Fabuloso
the smell
house,
of clean.
But I was overridden.
Rarely when you do it, I guess you could be satisfied in that it looks clean, but there's something about the smell of clean that's like, it's like it's wafting a congratulations. Like
it's like it's the odor of I'm better than everybody. It's like, wow, you really like, you know, like as they walks in, you really cleaned in here. Fuck yeah, I cleaned in here, and clock it immediately because I did it's a job well done. It's the credits of the nose.